Hey, what's up guys? OnePlus phones have always brought plenty of bang for your buck, but every year prices keep rising and the top flagship competition gets harder to keep up with. Does the OnePlus 6 still bring that same value? And how does it compare to last year's 5T? I'm Will for GSM Arena, and this is our OnePlus 6 review. At first glance, the OnePlus 6 looks similar to last year's 5T, though there are quite a few things they've done differently this time around. Instead of the traditional metal build, OnePlus has gone with Gorilla Glass 5 on the back of the phone, with an aluminum frame around it. There are three color options available right now: our matte midnight black, the sleek mirror black, and the limited edition silky white. The midnight black actually looks and feels more like metal than glass. Plus, the frame has a tapered edge that is easy to grip, while still being a bit more rounded and comfortable than the OnePlus 5Ts. The alert slider is on the right now. You can go silent or let ring with a simple switch. I definitely prefer using both hands to slide it. It's still a bit hard to reach. The phone really feels well built, but it is missing IP-rated dust and water resistance. OnePlus claims that it is splash resistant for everyday situations like spills though. Flipping over to the back, you can see how the glass reflects the light in an S pattern. Pretty cool, though you'll never see it if you use a case. You also have the vertical dual camera setup in the center, and below that, the fingerprint reader. The reader is a bit smaller than before and oval shaped instead of round. Regardless, it's lightning fast to wake up the phone. Face Unlock is another option for unlocking too, and it works really well. The screen layout has changed this year. The OnePlus 6 adopts the popular tall, all-screen design with thin bezels and a notch at the top. The chin on this phone is one of the smallest we've seen. The screen is 6.28 inches in diagonal. Although it is 1080p, content still looks sharp, and since it's an AMOLED, you get nice deep blacks. The OnePlus 6 does implement the notch pretty well too. It doesn't get in the way of apps or content. If you don't mind the cutout though, you can opt for certain apps to go full screen, if you want to take advantage of all of the space. If the notch isn't your thing at all, you have the option to hide it with a black bar too. You'd be happy to learn that the screen is really color accurate in the sRGB and DCI-P3 modes. The display is bright, comparable to last year's 5T, but sunlight legibility is slightly lower. It's still good though, the difference isn't really noticeable. One thing we would have liked is an always-on display, but there's an ambient display instead. It's sometimes on, displaying notifications only if you move the phone. But at a glance, you can always just rely on the notification LED. For audio, the OnePlus 6 has a single bottom-firing loudspeaker next to the USB-C port. Sound through the speakers is clean, though not the loudest we've heard recently. It's not bad, but we really wish there was a front-facing stereo setup. Thankfully, OnePlus has kept the 3.5mm headphone jack intact this year. Audio output is nice and accurate through headphones, the loudness is just above average. The UI of the OnePlus 6 is Oxygen OS 5.1 over Android 8.1 Oreo. It's pretty close to stock, but with a few proprietary features mixed in. For one, navigation gestures are supported now, just like what you'd see on the iPhone. But you can always just stick to the default navigation bar. And there's a gaming mode that enhances performance and blocks notifications while you're playing. The OnePlus 6 is also part of the Android P beta program, so you can try out some of the newest Android features. And although it isn't part of Android One, OnePlus has traditionally been one of the first in line to get Android security updates. The OnePlus 6 runs on a top-of-the-line Snapdragon 845 chipset with 6 or 8 gigs of RAM. As expected, performance and benchmarks is among the best out there. With heavy use, we did notice some heating which led to throttling, though we didn't notice any stutter while gaming. When opening apps or using the interface, everything is impressively fast too. The OnePlus 6 doesn't come with expandable storage, though it does have a dual SIM slot. Battery-wise, this phone does alright, but it's nothing impressive. Its 3300 mAh battery earned an endurance rating of 76 hours in our proprietary tests, a little less than last year. However, OnePlus's dash charging is still one of the fastest available on the market. We were able to charge our battery from 0 to 60% in half an hour, but unfortunately, even though the back is made of glass, there is no wireless charging here. The OnePlus 6 has a 16-megapixel main cam and a 20-megapixel secondary cam, both at f1.7. They are also both stabilized with OIS and EIS. You can't take photos with the secondary cam though, it's mostly used for depth information. Daylight shots look really good, with low noise, natural processing, and a great amount of detail. Foliage looks much better than last year, and there's a wider dynamic range. Using the 2x hybrid zoom results in photos that look pretty decent. The colors, dynamic range, and level of detail are a lot better on the Oneplus 6 than on the 5T. Shots in low light are high quality too, with natural looking colors and stellar dynamic range. Noise is kept in check as well, and we were quite impressed by the ISO performance. OIS helps nicely after dark, though shutter speeds never went super low. Portrait mode is the reason why we have 2 cameras on this phone, and overall the Oneplus 6 does a good job. Backgrounds look convincingly out of focus, and separation is decent, although it does sometimes get confused around subject's hair. With the 16 megapixel selfie cam, shots come out awesome in good light. It's one of the best selfie cameras we've seen, and though it is fixed focus, our selfies always turned out sharp. We should be expecting portrait mode for the front-facing camera too, after an upcoming software update. We did find fault with the front cam's HDR mode though. It produces much worse looking shots with heavy overprocessing. 4K videos can now be shot at 30 or 60 FPS. In general, they look great, but choosing the frame rate is quite important as it comes with a trade-off in both 4K and 1080p. The videos at 60 FPS are nice and sharp, but have no stabilization. Those at 30 FPS do though, and it's impressive, but there's no choice to disable it and it causes them to come out a bit softer, with less detail, and they have a narrower field of view. But thankfully the viewfinder in stabilized videos now matches what you're actually recording, unlike last year. Also new this year is a 480 FPS slow motion mode. Resolution is limited to 720p, but you can shoot with an unlimited duration. So the Oneplus 6. It's definitely improved over last year's 5T, with a faster chipset, bigger screen, better camera, and more options in video recording. It does have some shortcomings. Battery life is just okay, there's still no solid IP rating, and we wish there were stereo speakers and wireless charging. But still, you've got to expect some compromises to be made at this price. At $600 it's not a cheap phone, but compared to flagships that can cost $1,000 or more, it still provides a lot of value. The Oneplus 6 could be the right choice if you're looking for a high-performance device on a budget, and it deserves our recommendation. Thanks for watching. Hit like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And you're always welcome to stop by gsmarena.com for our full test findings. See ya.